Well, hello, this is Cynthia Roberson with Unforgettable Glass Act, Art Treasure Chest, and the Art Painting Crew, Art Treasure Chest Painting Crew. I am so thrilled to have you here with one of my boxes or online watching. We're going to be painting the lovebirds, the two flamingos, and as you can see, there's their heart right there. And this is going to be so much fun to paint. And I have made the instructions very easy to follow. So you can be at your own pace, stop it, start it over again, and just continue on until you have completed this project. I hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I did. And I want to thank you again for being part of the Valentine gift box. So enjoy and happy Valentine's Day. And it's all about love. So as I always say, love from the beach. Welcome to Let's Painting this beautiful set of flamingos today. And so I'm going to take you step by step on how to do this. So I'm covering up my pretty pink paper so that I don't get it all messed up with black paint. So in your box, you had a gift from me, which was the Anita's black. And this is going to go a long ways. And I will tell you that this particular brand is wonderful for painting your black, your backgrounds, because it really does cling, where others I have found take like 3 coats to cover a canvas. So I'm gifting you the black paint so you will be able to use it many, 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 many times. So these flamingos are just so sweet. You could actually take the pattern and just do one flamingo with it if you so desired. So I'm using the sponge that you will find in your box. And I'm just going over this entire canvas. I will probably put an extra coat on simply because I want to make sure it is really black. Black, black, black. So make sure you get your little ends as well. Let me just scoot in here and get some more of this paint. And I am finishing this part. One more side. See, I already got black on that thing, if you can see it. And I hope y'all will enjoy painting the flamingos as much as I do. I just love, love, love flamingos. Okay, so let me just stick this back here. And I'm just going to go over it nice and smooth again. And then we will paint this one more time when it dries. I'm going to use a blow dryer to quicken the process. So now for coat number 2. I'm using the same paint as is in your box. This is going to be such a fun piece to paint. You want to make sure that you get underneath, right there at that very corner there, because you don't want your white canvas to pop through either. So let's get this nice and smooth. Get all the excess paint off. I love doing art on black. I think it's so pretty. I'm so glad I put this glove on. Now you're going to have the tracer, and you're also going to have a piece of the white graphite paper. So you have a piece of tape in your box. I always try to level the top and that side. And then I'm going to put my tracer right here. And in your box, you will find a piece of blue tape. So you're going to take that blue tape, there's a reason why it was there, and you're going to tape it down to your canvas. That way, it's not going to go anywhere when you start to trace it. So if you do not have one of these tracing pens, no problem. Use a pencil, use an ink pen, just something that has a sharp point on it. And when you're doing this, you want to keep your hands away from where there's nothing there, because you'll get streaks all over it. So I'm going to put my hand down right here on this one, this body, because it's going to be covered. I want to make sure that I have it right. Hold on a second. That's the one thing you want to do, is you want to make a little mark. And I think I have it on backwards. So let me flip it. I'm going to make a mark again, because I want to make sure I pick up something that wasn't. Look. I picked up the last piece that was not. Silly me. So let me look at this and make sure. Yes. So if you just make a little mark you'll know if you've got the right side. So I'm going to just lay this down. And you want to keep this paper. Don't throw it away because you'll use it many times. And you'll be glad you have this sheet and you don't have to go out and buy any because it's not cheap. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to just draw the outline. Do a little ziggy right there. You can go ahead and draw that line if you want. And I am just trying to keep my palm inside as much as I can. And then when I can, I just bring it up. Now I don't remember where I left off. Ah, looking good. So his eyes will go here. And I missed this part right here. And I think I did. So let's do the next one. I'm going to just raise my hand up. I think this is the girl. Yeah, I think she is. Pretty little girl. Kind of went down. You could go up if you wanted. Oops. Don't remember if I did him or not. Let me see how much I'm missing. I am missing nothing. Okay. All right, so now you can just take this off, save your paper for sure. And it's the shiny side that actually is what's going to go against the canvas. Okay. So now that we have our canvas drawn, we're going to start. And I'm going to bring you down so that you can get a much better look at what we're doing. This should be right here. And this should be right there. Okay, so we're going to go on and we're going to start. And I'm going to use the colors that are in the box. So the colors we have are pink, orange, red and gold, white, and yellow. So these are the colors for our piece. Now, I'm going to pull these over to the side here. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint the flamingo first in white. So if you have a larger brush, you can use a larger brush. Otherwise, this one is just fine. It's in your box. So you have a much smaller plate, but your plate will do just fine. I just don't want to use up all mine. So I'm going to open up this white. So I'll try to. There it goes. And I'm going to just paint from the little jar that it's in. And the reason I'm doing this is because when we start putting color on, we want to be able to have true color and really not have this black showing through. So you don't have to have it solid white, but we need it to, sort of cover. Now I did this with a dry brush, but honestly I think we could, if we wet our brush first, it'll go on a lot easier. So just wet your brush and then just tap it so that we still have water in it. And you see how that moves? That's what we're wanting to do. We just want it to move. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of water right here on my plate so that when it feels like it's dragging, you can just come right back. Because all I'm wanting to do is to get a nice little coverage here. And since I made that little screw up right there, I'm fixing it by just coming over it. I'm not going to worry about this right now. And I'm going to turn her over so that I can do the other side easy for me. So as you can see, there's nothing fancy about what I'm doing. I'm just covering. You're going to have plenty of paint. There is no doubt about that. So since you have taken them out of the vacuum seal bag, if you have a little empty bottle or jar or something that you can put your excess in, if you so desire, do it so that it doesn't dry out. I love painting flamingos so much. I guess because they're such a sweet looking thing, animal. Bird. Love birds. They are definitely love birds. So I'm just going to put a little bit here. This is where our glass is going to go. And there's no rhyme or reason how you put the paint on. And I'm not worried about leaving some spaces because it's okay if the black shows through a little bit. Probably won't show very much in the when we start painting. This is actually just water that I have a little bit of paint droppings in that I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid back on this white paint. We're going to use it one more time, but we're going to wait on that. So, that's still a little wet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some red on his body, on the neck, and so on. And then we're going to come back with some orange and some gold. And you also have a lot of yellow. The yellow really was just for his eyes, but I decided to give you a nice little helping of this in case you want to put some yellow into your bird as well. You might want to do it with his feathers. Who knows? So we have pink, red, where'd you go? Red, and gold. So these two are going to be what we use first, and then also we're going to add in some pink. So I'm going to rinse off my brush, get the white out, and this is where it gets fun. So I'm going to open up my red. And we're going to start with putting the red on his body. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it to the side so you get an idea. Let me see if I can lift this up so you don't have that reflection. So let's start with the red, and then we're going to soften it up. We'll probably use some white in here too. Who knows? We'll see. And I'm going to go on and open up the pink. I can get it out. Oh, me and my hands. Let me get another one out. I have a little bit of arthritis, and it just is hard Good. Got it open. All right, so I have the pink open, the red, hopefully the orange, yes. Okay. So let's start out with the red. You've got a damp brush. You're going to just wipe it like this on your towel. And you're going to come in and get some of the red. And we're going to just start right here. Don't be afraid of the paint. Because you might find that you want to come back over. Boy, that is wet over there that I'm putting my hands into. Isn't that striking up against that black? Let me show you. It's going to be so pretty. So I'm just going to continue on with the red, trying to make sure you stay in the lines. And if you've never painted before, you are going to get very excited about doing this piece. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And you're going to say to yourself, I cannot believe I did that. The first time I picked up a paintbrush was, I think, maybe... Well, I didn't start painting four years ago. I guess I started painting about 3 years ago. And I had no earthly idea whatsoever that I had it in me. I really surprised myself, just like I was just saying to you. I surprised myself. I painted an angel that was on a matchbox. And when I got through with it, I thought, oh my goodness, it looks just like the one on the matchbox. And all I did was I had some of those, you know, those colors that come on a little strip. I guess they're for kids. I don't know why I had them. I have no earthly idea where they came from. And was shocked when I actually could do this. So I'm just following the outline. And in your box you have a printout of, well, a color photo of the Flamingo without glass and one with glass. So it gives you like a starting point of where to begin, what to use. You know, if you want to make yours all pink, go for it. But if you're doing yours in all pink, make sure you add white in areas so that you have highlights, which is what we're going to do with the pink and the orange.
Okay, so we have got the red on. I still have some wet spots, which is just fine. And I'm not going to rinse my brush. I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab a little bit of the orange and I'm going to start adding some of the orange in, and where it's wet you're going to see that it's going to blend, and where it's not, if you want to add a touch of red to your paintbrush, you can do that also. Just make sure you go over those graphite lines right to that very edge, but try not to go outside of them if you can help it. Now let's just go right into our pink, not wiping anything, and let's pull that in too. Leaving those colors on your brush, just you get new colors. So I'm going to come back into just touching, just barely touching the red. How about that? I'm going to come back over here with some pink again. Come back over here with some orange. The flamingos do not need to look alike either. Grab some pink with that orange. It's amazing how the colors change. You want to make sure that you are covering up that black. So I'm taking long strokes. Getting some more pink here. I'm going to come back with my red, and I'm going to put some red right here with those other colors. back in here again, add a little bit more pink. A little bit of orange. With a little bit of red. Now remember, this is your piece. I'm just showing you me doing mine. I'm going to open up the gold. I'm hoping, without making a mess. I'm going to wipe off my brush. Just wipe it, get the excess off. I'm going to come back in and just touch. Just touch, if you can see that. And I'm going to, with the side of my brush, lightly, very lightly, I'm just kind of running it over. I'm going to come back in and just, with the corner, very tip of my brush, I'm going to come back in here on top of this gold. And I'm just going to add little touches. There. Okay, I'm going to wipe my brush again. I think this is dry. I want to come back in with just a touch of the pink. And I want to just do a little, I'm going to have to turn this to the side to do this. I want to do just a little top like the sun is hitting him. Wipe my brush and I'm just going to blend that in. You see how that just blends right into the other color? Okay. I'm going to go back over here to my gold, touch it again. Just that little teeny corner, and I'm going to come right here. This gold is metallic, so you want to be very careful where you put it. I'm going to come back in with my my pink, just barely touching it. I'm going to come back over here because I'm kind of seeing the black come through here, and I don't want black in here. Touch my orange again, just a very tip. Want to emphasize right here the orange. Just with that little tip. Okay, let's go over to the other one and let's start him. So I'm not even wiping my brush, or her rather. I think she's the girl. So I'm going to put the red on. She has a little dip in her head. bring you down. Give you a better view of what we're doing here. I hope I don't go out of camera focus here, because when I bring you in closer, sometimes I'll move the art piece, and the next thing I know, you're not even seeing what I'm doing. You know, I should have started on this one first. So, word to the wise: if you're left-handed, start on the right one. If you're right-handed, start on the left one. And if you seem to be heavy-handed with your paint, don't start at the edges. Start in the center or somewhere. Like that, for example, you don't want that to be up against your edge. That's what I'm trying to say. And I hold my brush straight up and down when I'm coming around these little lines here. To make sure I get the lines good. She's coming together. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, so now that we've got the pink, the red on on there, let's throw in a little bit of pink here. I'm going to turn it to the side a little bit so that you can see what I'm going to do to her head. I'm going to touch just the corner with the red, and I'm going to bring that red in. And when you mix that red in with that pink, you get more of a peachy color. So if you don't want yours to be different than the other one, then just be real careful with it. Tip back into the red again, because this is not heavy in red. I left the pink on there. That's just fine. It actually gives you, some blending colors when you do that. I'm going to just touch that orange and take it off of my brush and just tapped it on the tissue or the paper towel, because I'm just wanting a little bit of that little touch of orange there. I'm going to come over and get more orange, and I'm going to start putting it in here. And you want to just kind of try to blend them together so that you don't see, here's the pink, here's the orange, here's the red. You want them to all just kind of flow. And if you're having a problem with that, just touch the water, and that will help you get that in there. A little bit of pink here. A little bit more red, trying to cover up that black. And see how, can you see how the orange and the red just kind of, you go from one color right into the next without saying, oh, there's a definite line. You know, I'm going to touch a tad of water, wipe off my brush, because I don't want all that on there. But this way, you can get it. So I'm going to come back in with just a touch, just a touch of that pink. Okay, so let's blend this one in. So I'm just smoothing it in. I want a definite pink line right there, but I want the rest of it to just fade right in to the others. See how easy that was? Okay. Let me come back in here with some red. We're using a number 6 and an 8. So if you have a 6 in your box, that's great. If you have an 8, that's great too. I'm using an 8. Which I believe is what is in the box, is an 8. Pretty darn sure of it. Now I want that red to come up into that orange, just a little bit, not much. Now I'm going to wipe my brush, and I'm going to go into the gold, and let's put a little gold right, I can stay out of the red. Let me stay away from that right now. We'll put some gold right here. Okay, so let's just blend this in. So I'm just kind of going back and forth, dragging it down. I touch the tip of my water, then my towel, and then I'm going to just come up. Okay, so I put some extra red on there. I'm going to wipe my brush, and I'm going to go into my orange. I'm going to come right into that wet red paint. We are making a new color. That needs to dry, so I'm going to flip her over. Let me get you a little down here. And I'm going to wipe my brush, get the red off, and come in here and just touch. Just touch. I mean, you can hardly see it on there. And I'm going to just come right here. And I'm just really, as if it were feathers, right in there on that one. So, see? I'm going to take a little touch of my pink, just hardly any on there. A little touch of red. You're kind of scrubbing it on is what you're doing. And I'm blending it right up into that pink. You touch the water just, I mean, right there on that very corner. Ooh, I got too much. I have it wet. I'm going to have to let it dry. I think I'll come in here and just touch this pink. Tap it onto the towel. And just blend it right in. There. That looks good. I think we're getting it. All right, so I'm going to bring in a little bit of red. I'm going to I think what I'll do this time is I'm going to take some red, put it on my plate, some orange, put that on my plate. So I have both of those colors. I just need a little bit, and I want to come in right here. Just to fill out where that dark is. So if you want to put 2 coats of paint on yours, feel free to. I'm just kind of rubbing in some of that orange and red right through here. I wiped my brush and I'm going to just keep working this in here. And then I'm going to just barely, if you can see that little bit of gold. Get a little bit more. Because I want to just shade that in, and it's easier if you start with little tiny things to get what you want. I also want to put a touch of it right in here. And I want to come over here to the red, see if I can get a touch. And I want to focus right in here. Okay, so I'm going to turn him around, or turn her around. I'm going to put a little red right there also, just to kind of accentuate his eye, is what I'm doing. And I'm just really touching up where I see black in there that I don't want to see, or graphite lines. Okay, so you see the highlight here. I'm going to have to come over here and get some more pink, because I'm seeing black through here. So this is like kind of the third coat of pink we have put in this area. And I honestly think I'm going to have to add a little bit of red to that, because that dark wants to show through. So while that pink is wet, this is the perfect time to do it. And I'm just blending it in with the other. I'm still seeing. Get a little bit of orange in here. Nobody's birds are going to look the same. I can promise you that. Okay, I'm going to let that dry again, because I'm getting nowhere with that dark spot. So here we have, don't they look pretty so far? I think they look gorgeous. All right, so we need to now do their little sweet faces. And so we're going to take, I'm going to rinse off my brush. Get it good and clean, because you need to paint this white, and it's going to probably take a couple coats to do that. So I've wiped off my brush really good. I'm going to come back over here and get some white. But I'm not filling it up. I'm just going to come in and you don't want to come up here yet. Keep it right there. To where that little jiggly mark is. Okay, so there's coat number 1. There, I did it again. Wrong one. Alright, so I'm going to come in right here. I didn't mark that little jiggly thing, but I know where it goes. Coming straight up. Now would be a good time to just grab up your liner brush. we're going to see what we can do without wetting it. But usually when you use a liner brush, you have got to wet it to get it to move good. This is the same size that's in your box. It's just I didn't want to use any of those because they are for y'all, and I didn't want to run out. Okay, let's go back over to this one. I'm going to touch the water. I'm going to wipe my brush off, and I'm going to come in and get this yellow. And like I said, this is the only time I'm using the yellow, I think, but we're going to paint the eye yellow. So you just want to do a nice circle, and it will take a couple of coats. So there's one. Here is the other. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for a second. And in your box, you're going to find taped to one of the cards 2 little bubbles, which will be the eyes. So I'm putting on my second coat. Now I'm going to rinse my brush and really trying to get that water out of there. I'm going to come back with my white, and I'm going to come up and go on and put another coat on. So you can use your other brush or you can use the liner. It doesn't matter. Making sure to get those graphite lines covered. I dotted a little bit of water on the plate just so that if I feel it dragging, you can just touch the water. Then maybe touch your towel to take out that excess. Sorry about my heater. It is cold in Destin, Florida today. All right, so still while we're waiting for that eye to dry, I'm filling in. Around that eye, but I am not taking it all the way. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush, put it aside, rinse the other one, because it's going to have black paint on it now. So, well, first it's going to have pink. Let's put pink on it first, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I'm just putting a little bit of pink on there, and we're going to put a little bit right in here. And I'm just kind of swooping it in. I don't want anything to be even here. And that's going to need another coat. A little bit more pink here. Okay. All right, I'm wiping off the pink out of this brush, and I'm going to go into the black. So I can't pull this out and you see all of it. I'm sorry, but for you to get up close, that's what I got to do. All right, so we're going to take the black, and I want you to see that I am really working in the black onto both sides, getting it into those bristles. Okay, but you can see it's not full. I've just been rubbing it into the bristles. Okay, so we're just going to come over here where that graphite line is, and we're going to come up over, and just barely. You want to almost lift it up as you're coming. I started with the wrong one again, aren't I? Okay, so we're going to let that dry. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to go woof. And I'm just kind of lifting up as I go. Just barely touching it. Okay. make sure my graphite is not showing through here. So I'm just doing a little fix it up to make sure that doesn't show. All right. Gonna rinse that off really good. And I'm going to come back and just get a little tap of the pink. And you see where we have that dark spot right in there? We're going to just try to just putting some of, wipe that off, get me some red. See how that just kind of focuses in where that eye is going to be? So we're going to do the same thing over here. Take some pink, turn it sideways so I can get in there. Too much. We just need a tad. Still pink. And I'm just going to leave her with a pink like that. Okay, rinsing off my brush. I'm going to wipe it really good on my paper towel and make sure I've got everything out of there. I'm going to touch this white again. Really want it to be white right here. So I'm just barely, as you can see, just barely touching that white. We're going to have to put something in here so that you can see his little whatever. And so I've got this white on my brush. I'm going to see what this is going to do. Looks good. Still with what I have left on this brush, which is, it's like a true dry brush. I'm just gonna Right. Now I'm going to come back into the white. I'm going to go into the white and I'm going to go like this so that it is really, really a sharp point. And we're going to start here in the black on the chisel. And we're going to do this. And then I'm going to wipe that off, and I'm really good. I'm going to come back in to the black, and I'm going to do the same thing. This may make a touch of gray, but that's okay. Okay, so I've got real sharp again, and we're going to just come up and a little thing, and then we need to go for his nose. So up. And then a little. You can use your liner brush for this. Probably would be easier. Okay. All right, now it's time to come in here and put the eye. Now I'm not putting it dead center on her. She's kind of looking down. Then I'm going to wipe that onto the paper towel. And I'm just kind of bringing in around, just a little bit outside the eye and then around the eye. And I'm just doing a little circle around the eye. Okay. Now let's just do the body and we will be done. How about that? This wasn't a long project at all. So I'm rinsing out the black out of my brushes. And I'm going to go in with my red with a pretty good amount on there. And I'm not starting at the edge. I'm starting over here and then coming up to the edge. And this is where it really doesn't matter because this is going to have glass on it. And I'm just kind of flopping it in. I'm not even like filling it in or anything. I am just kind of getting it in there. Then I'm going to go right into my orange. And this is where you can do whatever you want because it's going to be covered in glass. And if you want it to be brighter, add some white. You're making a new color. Some pink. A little bit of pink up here. And let that dry. Let's go on over to the other one and we'll start that one. And you might even want to play with the sides and just come right on down. but do them like at an angle. There's really no rhyme or reason to this. It's just putting in the color. I think since we have all that yellow, I'm going to even put in a little bit of yellow. Put in some orange over here. This is just a fun project that you can just let your creative mind just have a ball. Just have a ball. Okay, I'm about dry there because we want to go into the gold. Definitely want some gold there. Grab me some red. Just a little bit. I'm going to put that red like on top of that gold right there at his body where it's starting to come out. Let's get back in the gold. Let's do down here some red too. I'm not going to go smooth, I'm just going to just throw in some paint there to just give an illusion, if you can see that. We're just slapping it in. There. Okay, so we have it on the sides now. See, we've got some definite gold going on, and that's going to be really pretty when we put the glass on. So you need to sign it at this point. I'm going to put a little bit more red right here. Just because I want that. That was her body feathers coming out, so just going to do some like that. And then I think I'll grab just a little bit of white. Of course, white and red is going to make pink. Something else that I didn't mention that is really fun to do is to take your liner brush, wet it, dry it off on the towel, and then just barely touch your paint to the yellow or the orange and do some little dots above and below, just barely above and below. I'm using the yellow so that it'll really show. See how cute that is? Okay. So the next step will be putting on glass. So rinse out your brushes really good, and you may even want to add a little bit of Dawn in the palm of your hand and rub the Dawn into the bristles of your paintbrush. And then when you get through cleaning your paintbrush, now mine aren't clean yet because I haven't put them in Dawn, but I want you to take it and lay it over and slide it out. Lay it over and slide it out, and that way you keep that nice point and nice and flat on your brushes. Okay, so stay tuned. We're going to do glass next, which is not in a box, and there is not enough blue tape in the box to do this, but I don't normally do it. I'm going to do it this time. Is I am going to put the tape all on four corners. And when we put the resin on, any drips will be caught by this tape. Hopefully. One side, because you want your piece on a protective cover if you're on a table, and you want to make sure the drips don't end up on your dripping down off of your art piece or anything else. God forbid. Okay, so I have put this in here and I'm laying it back down. Get that off. And we need something underneath here to secure that. So let me see what I can find. Okay, for me to use these, I normally like to have just one piece under here, but it's not the case this time. I'm going to put these medicine caps under here and see if that is going to hold them. Get my hands back up under here, holding all of these pieces, and I'm going to throw some more of these little medicine caps in here to hold the piece. So in your box is some clear glass. So we're going to open this up and I'm going to put mine in here. It's just easier for me to be able to pull it out. Now you're going to use some glue, and that is not in your box. And the reason you're going to use glue is because you want to make sure you keep your glass inside the where it's supposed to be. Because if it gets outside, it looks horrible. It just looks horrible. So what I'm using is Aleene's Clear Gel Tacky Glue, and it's in clear. You can get this at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. And now I'm going to run it right down this edge here. On both sides. That helps to keep your glass in. Okay. And while I've got my glue out, I'm going to put a dot. That off. And when I say a dot, it's just barely on that canvas. Don't put it where you can see it. Just put it right there. Get it in and give it a little push. Okay. And see how it magnifies their eyes? Just makes it look amazing. Okay, glass. Now you don't want to do this heavy either. Because you want your colors to show through. So that little stir stick that is in your bag, I usually will take the glass. I'm going to show you right here. See how I've got it on the outside? I like to take it and push it right to that line to make sure that I have it on there. Usually I use a smaller glass, but this is a glass that I sell in my shop that I love, that's just crystal clear. But I also sell the smaller glass as well. But I thought I would use this time. So I'm going to take him, I'm going to turn him at an angle, and then I'm going to push him in. And as you can see, now I'm just kind of placing in to make sure that the glass is all the way, to the edge of the glass, of the canvas. So that glue, if it wasn't there, it just fell right off. So I think that's good on him. I'm going to slither in one little piece here. But as you can see, all of mine are inside the glass. I'm feeling for a real small piece, which is, I just found it. And I'm going to stick them right in there. Okay, so let's do the next one. So you're looking at that and you're thinking, oh no, I don't want it to look like that. Well, don't you worry, it's not. I promise. I promise. And you're going to have plenty of glass. So save it. So again, I'm using my little stir stick that we're going to use to stir the resin with. And I am making sure I keep everything where it's supposed to be. Don't want it outside those lines. Let's see if I can get that in there. So find you something that'll, keep your canvas off of the bottom, because if you do not use something to raise it up, it's going to stick to whatever you have it sitting on, and you certainly don't want that. I'm looking for another little teeny piece, and I found it. So let me just slither that in right there. Okay. Also, in your box, you're going to find some glitter. And that glitter, you have gold, you have red, and then when you look at a lot of my things, you see something that really makes it sparkle, and this is it. Doesn't take but a touch, and there's more glitter here than you will need. So I'm going to open this up, and again, I'm going to use my little stir stick, I guess. And I'm going to reach in here and get a little bit of the gold. I've given you plenty. You're not going to want to use all of it. And you may not even want to use it at all. And that's okay. So, as you can see, there is still plenty of gold glitter. Now I'm going to put some red on her. There we go. And reach in and get a little bit of this red. Try very carefully to keep it off of the black. And if it does get on the black, then you need to take, well, you're going to want to take a brush anyway before you put the resin on. Okay, so there's the red. Now, the good stuff. So come back in. And can you see how that sparkles? When you pour the resin, you will. Again, keeping it off of your black, because it will show wherever it goes. Okay, there's still a little bit there. I'm just going to use it all because this is the good stuff. All right, now is when you want to take a brush, a dry brush, and you want to start brushing, because see, I can already see that it went on my canvas. There's some gold, and you want to make sure that you don't have any dust or anything like that on your canvas either. So you want to really brush it good. Let's see something here. I saw that little white spot and it was driving me nuts. Trying to get that off. All right, so I think I have got it completely plain, and it's time to resin. Okay, so you have a pair of gloves. In your box. I'm going to put on the gloves. You do not want to do this without gloves on. You talk about a disaster, you'd be in the middle of it. Put these out of the way. All right, so you have a little cup and a stir stick, and you want to get those out. And the bottles that you have that have the resin in it, you want to make sure when you pour it into here that you have equal parts. So if one of your bottles has a little bit more, don't use it. Don't pour it all in. Just use what's in there. And we're going to go for, it's probably 1.5 ounces. So that means you want to go 3/4 of one and 3/4 of the other, making it 1.5. So if you just get this one in first and then watch it, you'll know it'll be 3/4 when you get there. Now here's really important. You don't want to bring it all the way up to the 3/4 line. You want to go just shy of that because it's going to rise. It's going to grow like dough. So on both of them, you're going to want to come in just a little below 3/4 of an ounce, and then let it set for, about 10 seconds and look at it and see where it's at. If it needs a little bit more, then you add a little bit more. But don't fill it all the way up to 3/4, because then you'll have almost an ounce. Then you're going to do the same thing on this one, being very, very careful. Maybe even go down a little bit lower than that little part where you did on the other one, so that you can watch it rise and you can just tap, tap, tap a little bit more in there. So I'm going to fill mine up. Okay, so now watch. I just drizzle. I'm just drizzling. You don't want to pour it. You don't want to fill it full. You just want to make sure everything gets covered. You can already see where it's taking up at the top. So that's your clue right there, because it will spread. Okay, now for the next one. See, where I'm coming back is where I saw some white. Okay, so now I'm going to put it on his face and that eye. Wait till you see this with the resin on. I'm going to tell you, I cannot capture with a camera, video camera, nothing to compare to what it truly looks like when you have completed your project. There's something about the resin and the glass that just doesn't want to take a pretty picture. Every time I have done a piece for someone and they see it before I send it to them, or they pick it up, whichever. When they receive it, they always say, "This doesn't even look like what you showed me. It is so much prettier." So you're going to be surprised. Now, you're going to want it to set. It takes 12 hours for it to set after you have poured it. And you want to make sure that you have it in an area where it's dust-free. I like to put a container, a plastic container over it. Like if it's a small one, I'll use a shoebox. What this will be is one of those other, the size larger than a shoebox. And you want to really make sure that you get everything covered, because if you don't, it will show, it'll stand out like a sore thumb. So just be very careful with it. You have like 45 minutes to work this. So what I do is, after I have put it on, if it's going to drip, I don't really worry about it from the beginning. I just let it do its thing. And then I come back. Well, I'll first come back in 30 minutes. And I will take a stir stick and I will scrape the bottom. Then if it's still dripping, I come back in another 15 minutes. And that way, you can make sure that all the drips have stopped. Now, I am giving you an ounce of each. This was 3/4 of an ounce. And some of you probably will need more than what I would use, especially if it's your first few times of doing this. Okay, so I still have some in there. And I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to bring it down over the sides, because I want everything covered. So I'm just doing the sides and making sure that everything is in here where it's supposed to be. I want to make sure, because it's so black, when the resin goes on, it's so black. You want to make sure that you get it all the way. Right there. And something else that I normally do is I take, after I have done this, I will take a paper towel and I will fold it over my finger and wipe down the sides. Now I'm making sure that I get this up in here where this glass is at. Okay, then you want to look really good and make sure you don't have any missing holes. So what I'm doing right now is making sure those rounded edges are covered. Back up there. Okay, I still have a little bit left myself, but I doubt you would. So if you have a creme brulee torch, that is perfect for this project. I see something right there. So I'm going to put it there before I even start. All right, so I've looked over it carefully and I'm not seeing anything, so I'm going to use the torch and you want to not get close. And I go both ways. Making sure I've got all the bubbles. And there we have her. All the bubbles are out. Now, I'm going to forewarn you, if there was, let's say, a touch of lint or anything, you're going to see it. So you want to look real good again and see if you see anything that looks like it is lint or a hair. I've had my hair fall down in it before. We're finished. So let me take the gloves off. I'm going to bring you up so you can see her full view. Hang on. And if you are not already a member of the Art Treasure Chest or the Art Treasure Painting Crew, I encourage you. There we have them. Both of them right next to each other. I encourage you to check into it on the website Unforgettable Glass Act under Art Treasure Chest. We meet every week usually with the Art Treasure Chest, and it's $25 a month. And then with the Art Treasure Chest box, that's the Art Treasure Painting Crew. And then with the Art Treasure Chest box, you get a box that has everything in it to do what we just did. So it is it's just such a lot of, it's so much fun, and everybody that gets a box always says it's like Christmas at their door every time their box arrives. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and stop it and start it, do it at your own leisure. And I look forward to having you with us again. So I'm just going to take my paper towel that I've wrapped around my finger, and I'm just going to wipe. Give it that first wipe, and you can see that I have some resin there. So thank you so much. And as I always say to all of the people that are in my group, love from the beach. See ya.